Now, we've heard a lot about this term, the Great Reset, but I think what very few people have considered is the Great Reset of silver. What the heck does that mean? And how quickly and how high will the price of silver go when they officially reset the price of silver? Here to discuss that is one of my good friends, Mike, the CEO of Vizsla Silver, one of my favorite silver and gold mining stocks, the first ever sponsor on our channel. Made me look fantastic. That stock has absolutely soared, even with the price of silver being stagnant. So make sure you hit the like button on this video to send it out to the YouTube universe. Comment down below, Great Reset of Silver, right there down below. The Great Reset of Silver, right there down below. We'll have the link to Vizsla Silver, one of my favorite silver and gold mining stocks, right there down below. So Mike, it's good to see you.
Jake, it's great to see you as well. Always great to catch up.
All right. First, congratulations. You officially have your second baby.
That's right. Yeah. It's gotten a little bit busier at home, but it's always a good thing.
And wife's doing good. Everyone's doing good.
Everybody's happy and healthy. And I saw some comments. Someone mentioned to me that there were some suggestions for the name like Sterling or Troy. I wish I'd seen those earlier before we had picked out the name.
There you go. Well, we might have to have one more then. So you bought a silver mine when the price of silver was very low, and you've kind of always been this visionary on silver, believing that the price is going to go astronomical, not because of some airy-fairy ideas, but quite simply the supply and demand fundamentals and how much silver is needed. And we were talking about this idea of the Great Reset of silver. What does the Great Reset of silver mean to you? What is it?
Well, it all comes down to, in my opinion, just how tight the supply and demand mechanics are of the silver market. And, we've seen historically a number of very significant high moves or high velocity and high price moves in the metal in the past. And, I feel like we're just getting ready for that next leg up in the silver metal. And so for me, the Great Reset of silver is, look, we've got an economy now that's basically underpinned by money printing. So I always talk about this, the two reasons why to buy silver. One is the kind of inflationary, theme around the world right now, the monetary theme around the world. But the other, probably the more impactful theme that's going to help the price of silver is, this very tight supply and demand balance, and the ability for technology metals to disrupt that and add more demand to the equation here. And I think that silver will have to increase its price to meet that demand, mostly basically for creating incentives for these companies to produce silver.
I was talking to Keith Neumeyer the other day, and he was telling me some numbers. He was saying that right now, about 20% of the global mine supply of silver is presently going into tech and EV and solar panels. And I started laughing because when he broke those numbers down, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is reason number 1001 of governments not being prepared. They're all talking about how everything needs to go to electric vehicles. They're giving these firm dates for all of these things. We're going to have all the solar, there's not going to be a gas car on the road. And I'm like, have any of them done the math? I mean, the price of silver would have to go to like $1,000 just to bring enough mines online to meet this type of demand. I mean, how does this type of, and I'm not knocking, look, you want to bring electric vehicles and all these things, great, but it sounds like nobody's done the math. How does this fit into the equation of the reset of silver?
Well, I think the way that they look at it is that it's someone else's problem, right? They think, oh, well, we'll make Teslas and we'll make, the electric F-150, and well, industry will figure it out. It's like, all right, okay, well, if industry has to figure it out, that means that you have automotive makers and suppliers, people that supply parts for automotives, having to figure it out. And for them to figure it out, it means that they have to essentially buy metals from either the exchanges or from various different sources here. And in order for these groups to be able to buy that metal, there needs to be an incentive price for us miners to first of all explore, then develop, and then produce the metal. And that's why I think it's very clear that if you follow those steps, we'll need a higher incentive price for not only silver, but also copper and all these other kind of electric metals around the world. And so that's why I think there's another term, maybe the great reset of silver, but there's also Robert Friedland talks about the revenge of the miners. And I think we're just probably getting ready for this. We were chatting about this the other day, kind of laughing about these NFTs that have a photo of a rock, and they're in higher demand than a lot of these mining stocks right now. This is kind of it's a typical 7 out of 10 years you have this kind of lull in the market for mining stocks in August and very early September, and things kind of get a bit better. But it was pretty funny. It was almost like being kicked while you're down to see that images of rocks, not even great images, but images of rocks are going for millions of dollars. So I think, that's not really, that feels a bit bubbly to me. And I suspect that, when and there's a group, Crestcat Capital does an excellent chart. Crestcat has a chart that shows, the free cash flow of miners actually increasing for the first time in many, many, many years. And so I think, as these fad investments continue and then lose steam, people are going to look, where can I get yield? Where can I get cash flow? Why are miners so undervalued? And what's the fundamental thesis? And if you go back to what I just said, where does the world and the governments and industry get the materials that they need for this green revolution? Well, it all comes down to what companies like Vizsla are doing, and the exploration, development, and mining industry.
Yeah, more than obviously we've had some pretty solid cash flow with a lot of producing mines, but for me, when I look at this idea of the reset of silver, like many things, it comes down to government negligence. When they're throwing out these incredible mandates on when they're claiming everything is going to be solar and EV, but you look at where is that's going to be more than the entire mine supply of silver in a year. All of it will have to go to that. And so to me, the reset is going to be one of those things that suddenly, then all at once. And I personally believe that there's a good chance that the price of gold and silver actually decouple from one another due to the importance of silver in tech and infrastructure, the lack of investment in it, and nobody seems to notice. And it just can't go on for that much longer. It has nothing to do with even the inflationary trade. It's needed based off all these mandates, which brings us to Vizsla Silver. There are not a lot of silver mines available for sale, and there aren't a lot of silver mines coming online. We have MAG, we have Silvercrest, but there's a lot of gold companies, but there just quite frankly aren't a lot of silver. You were very smart about this by getting in and buying a lot of land when the price of silver was very low. And so you got to be pretty excited looking at all this. Vizsla has done incredibly well, while silver has struggled to recapture its $29.50 level. It's actually up while most mining stocks are down during that same time frame. So I know you're very excited. You guys just raised $100 million. You're really making things happen. So give us an idea of what's going on in the Vizsla Silver world.
Well, I was actually chatting with some of our investors today about that, and what's actually pretty interesting about Vizsla is that it's not a recycled mining project. For people that aren't as familiar with the mining industry, and it's something that I've been basically working in my entire professional life, and I've seen cycles before. I've seen different projects and commodities become interesting to investors. And what happens when that happens, like we saw last summer, silver price goes up, is that companies, guys will go around and they'll say, hey, I need a silver project quick. There's demand for silver, and they'll find a project and drill a few holes in it and things like that. But we did something different with Vizsla. We actually went in and consolidated an entire silver district, one that's never been in the public markets before. It's never been in a North American company. It was really a Herculean feat that we were able to do that. And the reason I'm saying this is that we actually just closed that option. We had a 6-year option basically to buy this property from the vendor. We closed that option 4+ years early. So after 18 months of signing it, drilling it, so now we own the size of the island of Manhattan in a Mexican silver camp. We have a mill and we have permits and operating abilities basically based on the infrastructure there. But the reason I say that is that it's very, very rare to actually find a brand new silver discovery and a brand new silver district that hasn't been known about for many, many years. And so we did that. We basically brought something out of the private Mexican industry there and into the hands of investors here in North America and around the world. And that's pretty important because it's very difficult to actually get big projects that have significant production profiles and that'll be able to be kind of top of the line or in high demand when the metals prices like silver explodes. And there's a huge, people are saying, where do I get silver? Well, the only other silver project that's been discovered that's a virgin discovery is Vizsla right in Mexico right now. And so puts us in an excellent position. And it wasn't easy. It's something that took me, people have heard me say this before, but it took me about a year of my life flying back and forth when my wife was pregnant with my first son. And I was in credit card debt, 6 figures credit card debt, trying to keep the company going and all this and that. It was a pretty exciting operation. Now we've got a spectacular team that's doing an incredible job with drilling. Marty Dupuis drilling our resource out. Valco Brechik has done a great job on our corporate development. And so the company's grown, and we're kind of getting to this level now where we're stepping into the next phase of what it means to be kind of a growing silver company. So it sets us up really perfectly for what I think is going to be some of the best years ever for silver.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What's on the plate next? The advice that I got from some of the influencers that have been around in the resource space for a long time was when I picked a sponsor to make sure that I made the right pick, because there's a lot of recycled projects and a lot of companies that basically create a shell organization. And if the price of silver is good, they're good. If they're not, it's trouble. And I just had and this was quite early before a lot of these things had been really developing with you guys. But I loved what you had to say. I loved your vision, and you've executed on all of it. And a couple of the other big things were you guys already had a mill. There was a lot of things that companies it takes a very long time. The permits that take incredibly long time, maybe in many instances, 5, 10, 15 years to really get everything going. And you already had a lot of those. But give us an idea of that was what was attractive to me at the time. And not to mention, I just intuitively felt like you were a man of your word. And so far you have been. And so give us an update now on where is it going from here? What are the big focuses? What are the big things you want investors to know? Obviously, there's a lot of people that are subscribed to this channel that are invested in Vizsla. There's also many new people, but just give us an idea of what's on the horizon and what are the real goals moving forward.
Well, for us, it all comes down to doing things the right way. So we have, this camp now, we have these big goals, basically, exercise the options, own the property, raise enough money that'll keep us well funded all the way to basically a production decision, those type of things. We've accomplished those goals. And so for the next set of goals, looking forward here, we will put out an initial resource, a calculation that, demonstrates how much metal we have in the ground. And then from that resource will be able to basically wrap the mine plan and the economics around the decision to move forward into production. And so for a resource, I expect that in kind of early next year. That's always a positive catalyst for resource companies. And in the background, what we'll continue to do is just ready the project for production, and meeting that demand of kind of this upcoming silver producer in the industry. There really isn't any other groups out there really kind of doing what we're doing, in the sense that we've got this this unique approach to this, where we've gone and consolidated an old camp, and we're working towards putting it into production. So the big goal, again, resource in early next year, first half of next year, and then moving towards production, and kind of capitalizing.
How long would it take to get into production?
Really depends. You could go out and say, look, we could be in production in 6 months or whatever it is, because of the production infrastructure that we have here. But what's important for us as a company is to make sure that we do things right. And in order to do that, we need to kind of follow the steps, which are, understand what we have in a resource and then build a mine plan around it. So it takes a little bit of time, but it's something that we can do faster than most of our other companies by a matter of years. When I say most of the other companies, I mean most of the other companies in the silver industry. They'll have to make a discovery. They have to then go through the permitting and the construction. If they're lucky enough to make that discovery, it takes 2 to 5 years to do the permitting and the construction. Now, for us, the mill is operational and permitted. For us, permitting would take far less time. That would be around some of the underground permitting, and we don't have to build that mill. We have to refurbish the mill, but we don't have to build a brand new one. So that cuts multiple years out of the whole process there.
Yeah, it really is a unique situation. And I think it's exemplified when we look at the price of silver struggling, but it's been clear that you guys are moving forward. Now, any other big news you want to discuss? Anything else you guys are fired up about? You want to let anyone know before we move on?
Well, the biggest thing is that we're well funded. We're aggressively moving forward with high grade drill results. We have some of the highest grade drill results modern times, I would say, out of Mexico. It's really quite impressive, the grade, and of course, grade typically means margin when it comes to mining companies. I would say that's what's exciting and what's looking forward here is just more drilling. We have 10 rigs on the property, drilling high grade silver, and we're de-risking the project through drilling and development of the project. So, and again, very well funded. We, like you said, we completed a large financing. Even after completing those option buyouts and owning the property 100%, we still have over $50 million in the bank. So very well funded.
Fantastic. I gotta imagine everyone's getting pretty excited.
Absolutely. Yeah, we sure are.
So what do you look when you're looking at the silver market right now, and you look at what you guys have accomplished? What are you watching for, and what is your expectation and your team's expectation moving forward with the price of silver?
Well, I feel like it's like you said, it's going to be slow to come, and then all of a sudden it'll kind of burst. I think it's one of these things that it doesn't come when you expected the silver price movement. I think we were all kind of caught off guard that it didn't keep going from summer of 2020. But I think that as people come back to their desks from their summer break, we didn't really get a summer break last year, and market went really hard. People will come back and kind of look and see, well, where can I get value? S&P is trading at all-time highs. Pictures of rocks are going for millions of dollars. Where can I find real value in the market? And when people, draw the connection between what you're talking about there, the stimulus, the green energy and green revolution, stimulus and things like that, I think you have to draw connections between that type of investment and then the metals themselves. And so we stand out. Vizsla's always stood out as an attractive option for investment when you're looking at the silver universe, and I think that'll be what really drives the next leg up is kind of this awareness that these metals are extremely important for the way that we live our lives and the way that we want to live our lives.
Is there a price at which it becomes more attractive to expedite bringing your mine online?
Well, I would say we're going, at an incredible speed now. We feel that the price is going to increase. So for me, it's I think we're pretty much happy at these prices, and going forward, we're very motivated. So I don't know if we can go much faster.
Yeah, you guys have sure gotten a lot done in a quick period of time, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about business. So you built your first company, sold it for 15-20 million. You put everything you had into Vizsla. You guys have really been one of the mining sensations while the prices went backwards. You got an incredible opportunity. You just raised $100 million. I mean, you're doing something right. What would you say some of the important success principles are for you guys?
I think it's communication within an organization. That's a very important one. The other important one is that we like to kind of foster a sense of extreme ownership. It's something that we've kind of taken that principle and we've made it our own, in the sense that we want to give extreme ownership to the people that work with us and the guys that we build these companies with, guys and girls we build a company with. And one of our principles is that it's extreme ownership, is feeling like you're an owner of the company, but also you kind of own what you do and take responsibility for it. And I think that's key. And that's also the way that we kind of live our lives as well too, and take responsibility for the things that we do and make sure it's done to the highest level. So having that kind of pride of ownership, I think, as well. And then the other one is just that golden rule, right? Do unto others. I think is an important one, and we've actually kind of exemplified all of those things. For instance, getting these options done down in Mexico, we were, I think we were kind of the kind of business partners and negotiating partners that groups kind of want to work with. We're respectful and but firm, and we took ownership and made it feel like or kind of took ownership and made sure that we did things the right way.
So take me back to when you were trying to get Vizsla going. You said that you were 6 figures in credit card debt. You had a baby on the way. Perhaps you were questioning yourself. Maybe you weren't. Maybe some other people were questioning you. And I want to dive into that a little bit. I think that right now, everything that's happening in the world is it's pretty amazing. And it's pretty amazing to see just what's happened from these lockdowns and how many people feel like their entire world's crashing in on them. And I want you to take me back to that time. What was it like, and what were the tools that kept you going? I mean, that's a pretty amazing turnaround.
Yeah, there's definitely some feelings, some periods of feeling like like, what the hell am I doing here? For sure.
Well, how do you keep going when you question yourself like that, when you haven't gotten the results that you wanted yet?
Yeah.
So then you start questioning yourself.
Well, I think there's a lot of that is it's kind of a matter of faith. Faith that you're doing the right thing and that things will work out. And there's often times where things feel like they're kind of like you said, closing in. Difficult, kind of perhaps frightening times, and the other end of that is often, a kind of a new level or a kind of a new, yeah, like I suppose it's a new level, right? It's somewhere you haven't been before. In order to get there, you have to do things that kind of scare you. And in order, for example, this Vizsla, I knew that we had an opportunity to do something that very very few people, of the thousands, tens of thousands of people in my industry, very few people get to have a project like this and make discoveries like we've made here. And I knew that in order to get that across the line, I would have to risk a lot of things. And there's always those sayings, fortune favors the bold, or no guts, no glory, things like that. And when things get when circumstances get difficult, I think it's important just to kind of take a deep breath, have faith that things will get through, and be positive on the other side. And if they don't, then learn from it and keep going. Right, having that characteristic of persistence and perseverance.
Was there a point at which, when you were $100,000 in credit card, where you said, is this a good idea? Should I keep doing this?
I did actually. No, I don't think I ever. I don't. Now looking back, it was only a few years ago, but I don't think I had a feeling like I didn't know why I was doing it, or I was worried about the outcome. It was more like, well, I'll just have to work a bit harder to get out of this if things blow up. But I had this feeling of confidence, essentially, and my wife didn't know too, so that's also probably made it a bit easier. It was just to keep things, to keep the company going, paying for exchange, all these types of things that eventually I knew would get paid back. But we had to pay for guys on the ground in Mexico, things like that, just to make sure that everything was moving smoothly. Wasn't my own personal lifestyle or anything. I didn't have really a lifestyle at all at that point, and it was more just to make sure that I knew that Vizsla and what we were doing was the right thing to be doing, and I had that kind of conviction. And if for some reason that conviction was wrong, I was comfortable enough that I could bounce back from it, and that I would at least have some good stories, from that.
Has it made you think recently, with how much you guys have, with how much you guys have accomplished, and raising $100 million, and like legitimately you're gonna have a silver mine sooner than later? Has it made you think about some of these types of realizations, or life philosophies? What's been the big takeaways for you over this journey?
Well, I don't want to get too kind of into all the things that I think, and my views on things, because a lot of those, like, I'm happy to kind of go over those things. Maybe when we're catching up for a beer someday.
I'm already drinking wine right now.
Yeah, there you go. But I think the most important thing is just having some level of faith, right? And you are right. These are some very difficult times right now. Uncertain times. People in the streets, and last summer it was race riots, and now it's people protesting, and it's tumultuous times right now, and a lot of things are kind of up in the air and uncertain. What we thought was going to be a path to kind of going back to normal doesn't sound like anything's really going back to normal anytime soon. So I think it can be a bit disheartening and difficult, but we're all in these times here for a reason, and I'm just faith that things will work out.
Basically, you just had a very clear vision. You had a very clear idea of what you wanted. You said from the beginning, that you wanted to have one of the largest silver mines in the world, and you were able to just stick through that. And I think that that's a very important thing for everyone listening, is to find that vision. And so I'm inspired by you, and truly congratulations on everything you guys have accomplished. For everyone listening, I do want to highly recommend that if you haven't yet, check out Vizsla Silver. When I do interviews, I always talk up Vizsla, maybe more than other companies. If people will comment and they'll be like, "You always talk up Vizsla." But the thing is, look, right now the price of silver is down from $29.50 to like 23, 24, 25. I don't know exactly. I don't even check every day, but you guys are up a lot during that same time. And, that's a testament. You've got a good thing going on, and it's still really, really early in Vizsla. I know I'm not selling any shares for a very, very, very long time. With full disclosure, I have a lot of interest in the company, and it's because one I really believe in. So I want to encourage everyone listening to head down the link below. You can check out Vizsla Silver, traded in the OTC in the United States. Going to be pretty mad at Mike if we don't get this on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ here pretty soon, but also traded in Canada. What are the ticker symbols, Mike?
VIZSF in the US, and we are working towards the New York listing. And then we just need the share price over $2 US for long enough, and we can list on the NYSE, which I'm sure will happen.
How long does it have to be over $2?
Oh, there's some sort of volume weighted average formula, but a couple of months or something like that. But I expect that our price will be much higher than that going forward when we accomplish some of these goals that we have. And then in Canada, it's VZLA.
So for everyone listening, comment down below, go Vizsla go, right there down below, go Vizsla go. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. Keep your eye out for Vizsla Silver. In the description, I'll link to Mike and I do an episode every month or so. And so I'll link down a playlist of some of our other episodes. There's a lot of great stuff in there, everything from silver investing, mindset, business. So we'll link all of those right there down below. One of my favorite CEOs to talk to, and someone that I really do believe in. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification, and be sure to check out Vizsla Silver. So thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it.